Hey, welcome back. I thought I'd make another tier list since it's been a while, and I kind of just wanted to make one. So this is in response to the new Horde test that just released. I've been playing it and having a lot of fun with it. I haven't played all of the creatures yet with the Elder system, and I haven't fully played Tyrannosaurus Rex yet. So there's a few things on it that I'm not super familiar with yet, but I thought I'd just make a tier list because I wanted to when I had some free time. So this is a tier list on what I think is going to be overall the most enjoyable thing to play. So although things like how good it might be or is will be factored in, I think other things like how visually appealing the creature is and how fun I think the gameplay style will be. I think that will also play a role here. So it's pretty simple, pretty explanatory, and let's just get into it. And I'll start with creatures that we already have in the game so that we have a nice baseline. And I think Bipede is a good place to start. I think it's a solid C tier creature. This is because, well, it's got a few fun mechanics in terms of movement through the water. I did play it on the new Horde test. It seemed like it was a little bit difficult to see in the new water. It's like very blue, and it doesn't have Deinosuchus's new, like, improved water visual ability. So it does feel like this playable has been a little bit neglected, but we'll see. It is. I want to like it, but I can't put it higher than C tier because it's such a vulnerable creature. You can't really do much with it. Uh, Gallimimus. I think Gallimimus is an A tier creature. I love playing Gallimimus. I thought it would be a very boring creature to play, but actually, since it's so fast, it kind of makes up for any problems I have with it. The trot is super fast. The sprint speed is super fast. It's pretty maneuverable as well. It's got a good amount of health. It's got a decent amount of damage. It's just a fun playable in general. And it's a really beginner friendly creature to play. It's Lofton, easy D tier, even with the new mechanics it's got, climbing. I just don't bother with it. It's just not my kind of animal. I think Trudon is a good B tier creature. Now, Trudon is one of my personal favorites, but excluding my personal biases, I think that overall it is B tier because you do have to deal with a lot of BS if you want to play Trudon. Um, it's super weak and slow when you start out, and if you want to kill anything that's big, you really do need a coordinated and solidly sized pack. So it has very high highs, but also very low lows. So overall, I think it's a solid B tier creature. All right, Omniraptor. I have not played it in the Horde test, but it seems like it's okay. I'm just gonna put it there. I like Omniraptor. I've always liked Omniraptor, um, and I want to put it higher, but I don't know if they improved the pouncing mechanic or any other mechanics related to Omniraptor. It's always kind of been a almost good creature, so we'll see. Um, Stegosaurus, I think that's C tier, probably better than Might at least. I've just never really liked Stegosaurus, and I thought I would like him more if it had some uh, proper threats in terms of like predators. Um, so maybe it's a little bit better. I haven't played it on the Horde test, but I've always kind of had a distaste for Stegosaurus since basically the start of Arima. So I just don't like the way it looks. It's very slow. Um, it's a very good creature in terms of actual combat and stuff, but I just don't like it. It's not fun to me. Herrerasaurus is a fun creature I don't play often. Um, its climate mechanics are actually really fun. The fact that it can kill stuff is really nice. Um, Solid A tier creature. Some would put it S. Um, I don't think I would put it there because honestly, I'm not really a fan of ambush playstyles, but I do think it is a cool creature. I'm just going to put AI in the D tier because you can't even play them. So, um, Velociraptor may be AI, but we'll see. I'm going to judge that as if it was a playable though, because I think they might make it a playable. Okay, Dryosaurus, easy D tier. Um, Pteranodon, I think this is C tier. I used to really like Pteranodon, but then they reworked it, and you can't really. Um, they reworked the momentum system, so if you dived, you could preserve a lot of speed and use that to. You could use altitude essentially to get around the map faster. But now that you lose speed very quickly, it it becomes mostly about just gaining altitude and then like soaring slowly across the map, which is not very fun to me. I think they kind of ruined Pteranodon's flight with that one mechanic. Although there are a few new things about Pteranodon which makes it nice. I guess it's slightly better than AP, but I mean the slow stamina regeneration, the fact that it can't really hunt that many things unless they're really small, and just the flight changes. That one flight change just kind of ruined it for me. Maya is a lot of people like Maya, I think. Um, I'm kind of indifferent to it. So I think it's a cool creature, but it's just not for me. Um, I like that it's actually good at what it does. Um, I just don't really have much to say about it. I don't really play it often. So I think B tier is fair. Tenontosaurus. I really like Tenontosaurus, but I don't think I can give it more than B tier. It's a it does a lot for what it is. Like it's fast, it's agile, it's got good attacks. Um, I don't know. It's just kind of not a very. Um, it looks good. It looks good, but it just it doesn't have excitement that I think other creatures in A or S2 have. So it's I always find that I'm kind of feeling like I'm missing out on something when I'm playing Tyrannosaurus, even though it is like in most aspects a very solid creature. I don't dislike Tyrannosaurus, but I think B tier top of B tier is a good spot. Pecky. So with the new Hortus, I tried Packy, and now it's a very fun creature. It's kind of a beefcake. It's now I think the adult is 700 kilograms, and the prime prime elder is like 910 kilograms. So it is a very big creature, and I've always wanted to like Packy, but now I think it's actually A tier. Before it was kind of a little bit mid, but it is one of the best small tier creatures in the game now. Um, I think it's just a really solid overall creature. I like the combat style of just knocking people over and like tackling small dinosaurs to the ground. It's cool. All right, Triceratops. I feel like giving it S tier because it's so iconic. It's so quintessential kind of dinosaur. It's just so slow. Um, I think I will give it S tier because it's it's just such a important creature that will always be it will always have a place in the game. It's going to be that like frontline tank kind of play style, and yeah, I can't really fault it at all. Even though it is slow, it is slow in a cool way. Whereas I don't like Stegosaurus. Dilophosaurus. I used to really like Dilophosaurus, but I kind of just fell out of love with it. I think it's B tier. I think it's around like Omniraptor. Um, I don't like how the venom mechanic has gone with it. I wish they had reworked the venom system, and um, I just feel like it needs a major rework in general. But I like the creature on its own, but I just wish the venom was a bit different. Deinosuchus. Deinosuchus is C tier. Um, is it better than Stegosaurus? Uh, I think these are kind of similar. Maybe Dino's now like a little bit better. The thing is, like Dino on Gateway has always suffered. It was super good on Spyro, but now on Gateway, it's just had a really big problem with actually finding things to hunt. Um, with the new Horde test, the hotspots have changed, and now in a it's players are congregating around better Dino hunting spots. So it's it's sort of become better because the players have let it become better from hotspots, that kind of stuff. But also with the new Elder system, it can now hunt bigger creatures that would normally be impervious to Dinos, which I like. I like that it can now grab stuff that are swimming that are much bigger. I like that. Um, and people are saying or speculating that the Prime Elder Dino can get to like 1,300 kilograms or something, or no, 13,000 kilograms or something like that. Which would be really cool if that were true. I think the Prime Elder's bugged now, but if that is true, I think that would be a really valid thing to add for Deinosuchus. Like, all right, let me finish my thoughts on Deinosuchus. I think I want to like it, but again, it's a ambush playstyle, and it's kind of just a slow playstyle in general, which I don't like. Um, but I think it could go higher. Uh, I just need to replay it. I haven't specifically played on the Hortus. I've just seen people play it and get success. So while I originally had it like bottom of the C tier, now it's like top of C tier, maybe going into B tier or A tier. So I think Dino could be a lot better. Ceratosaurus, I think it's a solid A tier creature. Play right there for now. I've never been one to be a big fan of Ceratosaurus. I think it's a solid playable. I think they kind of added too many mechanics to it and kind of diluted what could have been a very simple but powerful creature. Now it's just powerful in a lot of ways, which I think is kind of ridiculous, but it is a very good creature. I just don't have any. Um, I don't really prefer it. I don't go out of my way to play it. I just don't have a good opinion of Ceratosaurus, but I do recognize that it is a good creature. All right, Carnotaurus. I Unlike Ceratosaurus, I actually really do like Carnotaurus. Um, Back when Ephraimos first came out, or when Carnotaurus first came out on Ephraima, I had a dislike for it, even though I like Carnotaurus in general, because it was kind of filling the largest creature, largest carnivore on land niche that I felt like it never should have taken. And for a while, I never played it because I felt like it was out of its element, sort of. But now that bigger carnivores are in the game, and and it's got a few new things to it, I think I really do like Carnotaurus. It's got a fun play style. It's super fast. I think it's really unique. I like the model. Um, I and it's one of those creatures that you want to like. It just I like seeing Carnotaurus around. So maybe this is a bit of preference having Carnotaurus over Ceratosaurus, but I think they're generally similar in terms of quality. All right. T Rex, I'm gonna automatically place it in S tier. I feel like there's no other place for it at the moment. In terms of gameplay, it's like OP unless you're dealing with Triceratops. But at the moment, it's a very dominant creature. Everyone's playing it, and everyone will be playing it for a long time to come because it's just so iconic. It's so quintessential. It's the dinosaur essentially, and it deserves no other spot than the spot at the top for me. Because I mean, it is my favorite dinosaur, but I think it deserves that spot because it's just so awesome in many ways. And yeah, I just can't think of anything bad to say about Tyrannosaurus Rex. It's just the quintessential dinosaur. Hey, I'm back. I just had to get a few things done in the meantime. Now that we've gone through all of these different creatures that are already in the game, we can start talking about some speculation on which creatures will go where and how good they'll be. So let's just start with Acrocanthosaurus. I think this is going to be an A tier creature, probably better than these guys. Um, is it going to be better than Ceratosaurus? I don't know. I think I'll put it right there for now. Acrocanthosaurus, it's an interesting creature. I think it's got a problem with its identity since it's considered, or it's trying to consider itself to be like um, a really heavy built predator, a really like a creature that kind of wants to throw its weight around and wrestle its prey to the ground and then choke them out. I think that's how they want to do it. But the thing is that it really isn't the heaviest predator around. So I don't know how it's going to deal with competition with Tyrannosaurus and Giganotosaurus and Spinosaurus. I feel like it's just outgunned, even though it's trying to specialize in a way that it shouldn't be. I feel like they should have made it built more like Allosaurus, but just a little bit bigger. But we'll see how it goes. I have found myself kind of pleasantly surprised by the Acros model now that it's got some skins on it. But yeah, we'll just have to see. All right, Acrocanthosaurus. I have always liked Acrocanthosaurus. I think I'll put it in S tier. The thing about Acrocanthosaurus that's so, or I'm saying Acrocanthosaurus. I meant Albertosaurus. Um, I've always liked Albertosaurus. It's kind of like T Rex, just at a subadult version, but that's nothing bad about it because subadult Tyrannosaurus Rex is really cool. It's like a leaner, more faster, a quicker predator. But it's still kind of built to be a powerhouse. So it'll be a faster powerhouse, and it has more ability to catch out faster and lighter prey. Whereas Tyrannosaurus Rex will eventually have to transition to heavier animals like Triceratops, whereas Albertosaurus can essentially be a more generalized predator, and I think that's cool. All right, Allosaurus is kind of a um, close competitor with Albertosaurus, but I think Allosaurus doesn't quite make S tier. A lot of people have Allosaurus as their number one. I like Allosaurus, but I think it's going to have some real problems with the matchup with Albertosaurus. I think Albertosaurus just wins. And we'll have to see how the matchup plays out in reality. But I feel like if Albertosaurus gets the crush ability, then I don't think there's any way for Allosaurus to win. Albertosaurus is just the bigger predator. It's got more power theoretically, so we'll see. Ankylosaurus, um, it's got a lot of the same problems that Stegosaurus has and Triceratops do, where it's just really slow, heavy built creature. But the thing about Ankylosaurus that kind of makes it stand out is that it's just so heavily built that it becomes endearing. It becomes like the cool. It becomes interesting. Whereas Stegosaurus is a damage dealer that gets held back by its large weight, whereas Ankylosaurus, its its main mechanic is being super heavily built and super defensible. Like it's going to be hard to bleed this thing out. It's going to be hard to really deal any damage to Ankylosaurus. It's going to have damage resistance. It's going to do a ton of bone break. I think it specializes so much into that defensive playstyle that it really defines the creature in a way that Stegosaurus doesn't. And I keep picking on Stegosaurus, and I'm sorry, but I just I just think it is outmatched by these other heavy animals. Speaking of which, Brontosaurus, or is this Apatosaurus? I'm not sure, but some sort of pod like that, um, once again supersedes Stegosaurus. Um, Although I don't think by much. I think they're kind of actually similar. Um, Brontosaurus also has the issue of being outmatched by other sauropods like Brachiosaurus. So let's just put Brachiosaurus somewhere in A tier. Um, I think that's a good spot. Brachiosaurus is the like it's the sauropod. If you want to be all majestic and super tough, then this is what you go for, or you go for a Kylosaurus for a super heavily built defensive animal, and they both pull it off because they that's their whole shtick essentially, and they just make it work. And then Camarasaurus, I think it's also in the same league as Brachiosaurus. It's not nearly as big, but I really like the model. The model looks great. It's got really cool like studded legs and looks really cool. And as if you don't want to play Brachiosaurus, you want something a little bit faster and a little bit less huge, then I think Camarasaurus is a good alternative. It's still huge, but I feel like it's going to be a bit more maneuverable and for those that don't want to take forever to grow, because I think Brachiosaurus is going to take forever. Let's put Compy in the bottom. Austroraptor. This guy's coming up soon. Um, I really like Austroraptor as an animal, but I feel like he belongs right here. He's a aquatic animal. I'm assuming he's going to be very fast. I hope they keep him just as fast on land, like a very swift predator in both land and water. I think I think it's going to be cool, but if you want this sort of swift predator, you're probably going to go Omniraptor or Dilo on land, and if in water, then you're probably going to go with Baryonyx. And Baryonyx, he goes he goes right there. Baryonyx, everyone loves Baryonyx, and it's just a well-designed creature. It seems like he might not have as much mobility as you might want for a creature its size, but we'll just have to see. Maybe it's kind of got a Serato like playstyle, and it'll be interesting to see how they match up. But yeah, Baryonyx, super exciting creature. Avaceratops. I'm going to assume that this is going to be a playable. I think they talked about it becoming AI, but I'm not sure. We'll see. Avaceratops easy. I think it breaks out of. Um, does it? The thing about Avaceratops, which makes it interesting, is that they are thinking about making it omnivorous, which will be a really interesting take on a ceratopsid. and it's also supposedly going to be pretty fast on its feet, even though it's going to be a bit of a small tier powerhouse. So it's got a lot of things going for it, and I can't really fault it, really. I guess I'm going to put it in B tier, maybe bottom of B tier. And what is this doing here? Diabloceratops definitely belongs in A tier. Um, I think that's a good spot. Diabloceratops, very solid creature. I didn't expect them to make it 3,000 kilograms. I think that's a little bit too much, but it kind of makes it work. And ceratopses are really cool creatures. I just think it kind of gets outshined by Triceratops, but it is good for what it is. Corythosaurus. I do not like Corythosaurus at all. I'm going to put it immediately in C tier, and it's going to be worse than Stegosaurus. Like Stegosaurus, it's got an identity. It's iconic, and it is a powerhouse now that it's got the Prime Elder, which is 9.3 tons. Corythosaurus, on the other hand, is just a more awkward looking Parasaurolophus. So I just don't see any way that I'm going to choose this over Parasaurolophus. Um, Unless it has a really unique gameplay style or some unique abilities that really I find interesting. I just don't think it's going to be fun at all. I think this is pretty easy S tier at Akairos. It's just got so many things going for it. It's first of all, it's a really cool omnivore. It's got really big claws. It's huge. It's going to be a swamp dweller, so kind of a um, omnivorous take on the Spinosaurus. I think it's just got a lot of things going for it. Super unique animal. It's like one of a kind of animal. And yeah, there's Inosaurus, but it kind of does a different thing, and it's also bigger, I think, than there's Inosaurus. So definitely one of the best. Diplodocus. I don't know if Diplodocus is still in the game or if it was canceled. It might have been canceled, but if it's not, I'm just going to put it right next to Apatosaurus or Brontosaurus. Um, in fact, both of these might have been canceled, but if they're not, that's kind of where I would put them. Okay, Giganotosaurus, easy S tier. And while I'm at it, I'm just going to put the three apexes where they belong. Obviously, these are going to be the three most popular creatures in the game. Um, do I really need to explain it? They're just so iconic. They are the dinosaurs to play, and I'm really curious to see how they match up against each other and what sorts of strengths and weaknesses they have. I've already am really impressed with Tyrannosaurus Rex, so I'm curious to see how Giganotosaurus and Spinosaurus deal with the Isle. Um, Homalocephaly. I'm just going to put it in AI tier. It might be playable, but who cares? Um, and then Velociraptor is probably going to go at the top of D tier, and it might be AI, it might not, but if it is a playable, then I think they're gonna probably give it a couple interesting mechanics. They're probably going to give it climbing, and they're probably going to, um, if they give it feathers, maybe give it like a slow fall ability or give it some interesting pack abilities. Um, Kind of make it into a diet Troodon kind of thing, which already in itself is a diet Omniraptor. So this thing is just going to be so small. I'm struggling to find a way in which you could like convince me to start a playthrough with this, unless I was just trying out a new update and I wanted something to quickly grow. But yeah, like it's just a outclassed creature, Maggie. Um, People have strong opinions about Maggie. I think it shouldn't be in the game, but I feel like since it's not minuscule. At least it's like small tier, not miniature. Um, and it's got some armor plates. It might have some unique aspects to it, as long as they don't give it the poison meat ability, then I'll be fine with it, even if it's underpowered. There are some creatures that are underpowered, like Trudon. Well, I guess I don't know if Trudon's underpowered. Like I like Bapi, even though it's like underpowered as hell. Um, there are some creatures in C tier which I do enjoy, but just aren't meta, and I think Maggie might be one of those. And it is kind of unique to have a small tier sauropod. I just don't think it belongs really. All right, Megalania. Megalania is probably a B tier creature. The thing about Megalania, I don't know how its matchups are going to go. I don't know how its venom is going to work. I don't know how good it's going to be in the water, and I don't know how good it's going to be able to climb. So there's a lot of variables here that could drastically change my opinion on Megalania. But in theory, it is a cool creature. Um, Maybe around Dilo tier. Minmi. Minmi is it's for sure not making B tier. I don't know if it's C tier or D tier. Um, it's going to have a lot of mechanics. It's just that it feels kind of like a bunch of crutches to keep it from being worthless. And it's probably going to have like 300 health, something like that, maybe. Um, yeah, it's just going to be like one of those cute animals that you like to see on the aisle, but it's just an easy meal if it's caught out. Um, I guess it might just makes bottom of C tier, but I don't like it at all. I mean, it's not like I hate it. It's just like this is kind of like the tier list of like if I were to get into a server, what would be the most likely creature for me to pick to play as? And Minmi is low down on that list. Um, Monolophosaurus. This is another one of those creatures where it's like it could be really interesting or really bad depending on how they make its mechanics work. So I'm going to probably put it like middle of C tier. I don't know. I think it might have some potential, but I think this snot rocket mechanic is kind of almost jumping the shark kind of thing. But if they give it some interesting applications that are fun to play with, then it could be fun. Or Dromius AI tier. Let me just check if there's any other AI I missed. Nope. Okay, Kentrosaurus. Kentrosaurus is cool. I like it more than these guys. Uh, yeah, I think it's pretty solid playable. I'm wondering how fast they're going to make it because if it's slow, it's gonna have some real problems with like Tyrannosaurus Rex in particular and other fast creatures like Albertosaurus, maybe Acrocanthosaurus. But it's gonna be a fun like small tier powerhouse. Probably give some small mid tiers like Ceratosaurus or some other like smallish medium tier creatures, some troubles too. And I feel like it's going to be sort of glass cannon playstyle, and I'm excited to see how much damage you could deal with this thing because it just like all the spikes they look pretty imposing. Okay, Oviraptor. Some like Oviraptor, but I'm not one of those. I find that Oviraptor's going to be pretty bad because of the existence of Gallimimus. Because both of them are supposed to be egg stealers, but why would you go with Oviraptor if you could go with Gallimimus? Gallimimus is faster, it's bigger, does more damage. It's just better in every way. Um, does it break out of D tier though? I don't know. I'm gonna put it in D tier for now, actually. Probably top of D tier. But it's not like this is an irredeemable creature. I just think that if they go with it, they need to really make it have some truly special and unique abilities. Um, and there's a lot of ways they could go with it. Um, but yeah, it definitely needs some work because if it's just a egg stealer with some omnivorous abilities, then no one's going to bother with it. All right, Pachyrhinosaurus. Easy S tier. Probably there. I think it's super cool that you have a ceratopsid that has bone breaking ability and doesn't primarily deal bleed. And I think Pachyrhinosaurus in general is just a really interesting animal, and I'm really excited to play it. Okay, I have no idea what this creature's called. Um, I think it's a protosauropod or something like that. I honestly have no idea where to put this thing. So I'm probably going to put it Corythosaurus tier. I don't know. Maybe someone's got an opinion on this, but I have no idea. Parasaurolophus, the the coolest hadrosaur probably. Maybe second coolest. Um, definitely belongs in A tier, but where? Is it cooler than? Yeah, it is cooler than Diabloceratops. Um, I think that's a good spot. Very, very solid herbivore. I'm going to be excited to see these guys around. I'm sure they'll have really epic um, calls and sounds that it makes, and it'll just be really cool to see these guys like frolicking around, and they're just so um, majestic looking. Um, and I really do hope that they give it a mechanic where it can um, use its crest to talk long distances with other um, Parasaurolophus players. I think that would be a really cool and unique ability for it, where it can communicate maybe even across the map and um, easily locate other Parasaurolophus so that they can create safe herds. And I think that would be a really powerful ability. And it might also be used to grief, like find out where other players are so that they can be griefed. But hopefully the players wouldn't do that if they add that mechanic, but we'll see. I think this is Rauisuchus. I think this was I think they binned this one, so I'm gonna put it there. And I think this one was also canceled. RIP. All right, Protoceratops. I love Protoceratops. Definitely better than Avaceratops. Um, I don't think it's going to go much further than this, though. Hmm. I I just think it's a more interesting playable than Avaceratops because Protoceratops is just a really fascinating animal to me. Even though it's smaller, it's the smallest ceratopsid, I think, except for like Taco. But um, yeah, it'll be cool to see like a ceratopsid that uses its beak mostly, and I think having a more dedicated beach dweller is cool. Even though any animal could, in theory, be able to drink salt water. It'd be nice to have one creature, at least, that can just drink salt water right off the bat and can save that mutation slot for something else. And yeah, I just really like Protoceratops. Quetzalcoatlus, easy S tier. Probably bottom of S tier though. Now everyone's going to be excited to play Quetzalcoatlus for obvious reasons, but I feel like if I know Dondi, I know this thing's going to get nerfed into the ground because I see how they treat Pteranodon, and I know it's going to be worse for Quetzalcoatlus. So I feel like this thing is probably going to be a dedicated baby killer. If I had to make a guess, it's probably going to be like 500 kilograms and can sort of soar wherever it wants, but can't really take things out easily until it lands. And it'll probably have some ridiculous stamina regeneration. So we will see. But in theory, it's a cool creature. And just having a 500 kilogram anything that's flying is just super cool. All right. Shantungosaurus, another easy S tier. Um, Probably slightly worse than Dinochirus, but in that same league where it's kind of just like Parasaurolophus, it's going to be one of those animals that sort of um, increases the vibes of wherever it is. Like it's just a majestic animal. It's huge, and it's huge even though it's not a sauropod, which is really unique. And there's probably going to be a ton of players who play it because it's so big, and people want to play the big, strong thing. But yeah, I think it's a cool animal. Styracosaurus, another banger. I like it more than Diabloceratops, so I think it automatically is better than Diabloceratops. Um, is it better than Parasaurolophus? Yes, it is. It is better than Baryonyx. It's better than Allosaurus even. I think it's the gatekeeper for S tier. Excellent creature. Excellent. I just think it's just such a cool creature. It's got the a, a really cool crest and display, and the single long horn, really unique. And also it's got longer legs than most ceratopsids, which is also pretty cool. All right, Suchomimus is similar to Acro, although maybe ever so slightly cooler. Um, the way I want Suchomimus to work is I hope that it becomes the swamp dweller kind of creature where um, if it enters a water, if it enters like a swamp or like a river or something with momentum, it sort of preserves that momentum in the water for a bit before it dissipates back to its standard swim speed. So that if you're in a location like the swamps where you're constantly going in and out of water, you can minimize that slow speed and just sort of um, quickly move across the swampland. And I think that would be really cool. I think it would also be cool if it could uh, run through mud and other like surfaces that will slow you down, so that it becomes an animal that thrives in um, areas like the swamp. And I think that would make it a really unique playable, which differentiates it from like Spinosaurus, because maybe Spinosaurus kind of dwells wherever it wants, but doesn't necessarily specialize, whereas Suchomimus is more of a land-based Spinosaurid that can quickly traverse small bodies of water if it needs to. Um, and one last thought about Suchomimus, not that it'll have like a slow swim speed, but just not as fast as other Spinosaurids and more dedicated to the land. I think that would be cool. And then we have Therizinosaurus, and I think when it comes to Therizinosaurus and Deinocheirus, I think Deinonychirus is just way cooler. I like the model more. I like just the play style more. The fact that it's a swamp dweller, that's pretty unique, and it's a omnivore. And I think their Zenosaurus is going to be a pure herbivore, but we'll have to see about that. Um, I think it's definitely at least A tier. Probably above this, maybe above him. I think that's where he belongs. Um, he's always kind of been a bit of a fan favorite since the Owl Legacy, but I have never really liked the bushy tail look, and it. I mean, there's nothing inherently wrong with Therizinosaurus. It's just not my cup of tea when it comes to that like Freddy Krueger type herbivore. I think that Deinocheirus just kind of um, is the cooler creature. But yeah, I think that's generally how my tier list is. Um, if you have any thoughts or disagreements, just let me know. Have a good one.